Hey guys, Naosha here, and so we're talking letter grades today. D or F? Which one is better for your credit? Well, in order to understand and make the sound decision, you need to first understand the concepts, and we need to level set. So let's do some definitions. D, that stands for deferment or buy now, pay later, deferral options. What does that mean? Well, you see this pop up a lot of times in store accounts, an appliance store, as an example, maybe on a PayPal credit card. Sometimes you'll see it pop up on your regular credit cards or even your mortgage. But what does that really mean for you? Well, if you have a buy now, pay later type scenario, think of it as being able to buy a large ticket item that you're not quite paying the full amount for. You can get it now today for cost. And if you are successful in paying this off before the promo expires, guess what? No interest. You got it. That's right. And how wonderful is that? It means that you're getting it at cost. You're not paying any additional dollars, and you were able to get this at an affordable rate and speed according to your finances. So you may go into a store today. You may need a new appliance. You may need to buy something online, but you just don't have the cash resources. A lot of times you'll have 6 months to pay this off before the interest actually hits. Now, I have to caution you, the interest will accrue monthly. That means that if it is a 6-month deferred or a deferred payment, that means that all the interest that accrues during this 6-month time frame, if you don't pay it off by the end of that promo, all of the interest will be due. Can we say it again? All of the interest will be due. That means you could go from paying maybe $1,000 to now $1,600 if the interest is that high. Interest does accrue. A lot of times you will have a much higher APR on a deferred account than a regular account. Why is that? It's because the creditors are basically giving you a grace period to pay this off without you having to incur any fees. So they're banking on you not to pay off the full amount that's due by the end of the promo. And that way they can tack on and get more money out of you. So you have to be smart about it, right? So you have a higher APR, you have a time limit that is set. It's a promo. So it's not, I'm going to get this all for free. Remember that. Now, what does that mean in terms of mortgages and student loans? Well, if you have a student loan and you get a deferral plan or a deferred payment plan, it means that you're not now accruing interest. Why? Because if it's a Fed loan, then that means your payments can be deferred for up to a certain amount of months or time frame, or while you're in school pursuing another degree. You're not accruing the interest, so that if you were to make payments, you can drill that total balance down while it's in a deferment status. Also, with the COVID-19 pandemic that is amongst us, federal loans are in such amazing statuses right now. They are automatically being enrolled in a 6-month deferred payment program, right? Automatically. That means no payment is due through the end of September 2020. But here's some icing on the cake for you. You will not accrue any interest because it's a waiver of interest during this time. So that means any payments that you make, they will go towards principal, which allows you to then pay down the loan in a quicker time frame. So you have to use the time wisely. But the creme de la crop of it all is that they will not, let me repeat it again, they will not be garnishing any checks. They also will not be pursuing any debt collections during said period of time. So you can rest assured you will not be harassed. You will not be chased by any of these collection agencies if you start to fall behind on these payments. Now, I want to caution you, and I want to say this very clearly. I am not advocating for you not to pay your bills. This is just an option that you can take advantage of now while we're in the midst of this and while you're trying to figure out what options are available to you to take advantage of. It does not mean to ignore, to do nothing, because you definitely want to stay current where you can. So if you are going into a deferred payment option, be it a credit card or be it a student loan, try to pay down some of the interest. Try to make an additional payment. Why do I say that? Because by law, if you have additional payments that you are making, the credit card companies are required by the Fed to apply those additional payments to the highest APR. So if let's say that you have a credit card, you already have a balance on that card, but now you get a promo in the mail, you take advantage of this promo account that says you don't have to make any payments and you won't have any interest accrue for 6 or 12 months. That's perfect, right? So during this time, you want to make some additional payments because at the end of this 12-month promo, your APR is going to shoot through the roof and it's going to be like some crazy astronomical number of 29%. That's insane, right? And what happens if all of the interest is now going to be reflected at the end of this 12-month term? Typically with credit cards, it's not. It will start to accrue at that time with the remaining balance. But let's just say that it is. That means for all 12 months, the balance that you've been carrying and you haven't been making any payment, that's going to hit you. It's going to make your now balance go up. It's going to make your debt to income ratio be off. And it's also going to put you in an additional stress factor level that you hadn't had before. Because now you're going to see this bill come in and you're going to say, what the heck? I have all of this to pay. So if you can pay down minimum a little more than the minimum balance every month, perfect. It will go towards your principal. And that way, when you come out of this, you can be free and off the hook or have a very small balance that you have to deal with after. Okay, so we understand deferral, but now let's talk about forbearance. What is a forbearance? Well, deferral is a delay and forbearance is typically a postponement. So let's use the same scenario with our student loans, right? You're now going into a forbearance period where you don't have to make payments because they are postponed for a certain amount of time, right? If the payments are postponed, the difference here now is interest. It's still going to accrue, and the interest is going to accrue every month that a payment would typically be due. So that means if you do absolutely nothing, the balance is going to rise every month. And that means you're going to pay back even more money at the end of this. So if you had a choice, what would be the better option here? D or F, right? Both of them offer you the option to put off the payment, but one comes at a heftier cost, and that's the interest. So in terms of the student loan, the preferable choice would be to go with a deferral option if you can. If not, you can certainly go with the forbearance, but remember the interest is still going to accrue. Now, what does that do in terms of your credit score? Well, basically, if you were not late on a payment prior to going into a deferral or a forbearance program, it's not going to affect your score much at all. Why? Because you were current. But if you were late, if you missed a payment, if you defaulted on some type of agreement, those are the items that will show up on your credit score. And it doesn't matter what you do after the fact, it's going to be there. Now let's switch gears for a moment. And let's talk about mortgages, because this is also a hefty bill that you have to pay every month, and you need to know what those options are. So, deferral and forbearance for many and most, I'll say, mortgage companies, synonymous. It's the same thing. What's the difference here now between credit card and mortgage is that you may not make a payment now. However, at the end of this agreement, you're going to have a lump sum that's due. So just like we were talking about maybe a PayPal or a store credit account, you kind of buy now, pay later. Same thing with the mortgage. You buy yourself some time now, but you are going to pay for it later. So you may have a reduced amount that you're going to pay now, and then at the end of these 3 months or 6 months, whatever they determine, they want their money, right? And they want all their money to bring it whole. Another scenario may mean that they add your payments on to the back end. So they kind of stretch it out, and it could be a modification. The other aspect could be maybe they give you 1 month and then you spread that additional payment over the course of your loan. So maybe you're spreading 1 month over the course of your 30 years or 25 years, however long you have left. So with a mortgage, it's very different. Each individual is going to be in a different scenario. Although we're all dealing with the pandemic, you should contact your lender and speak to them about the specific options available to you. The same is going to be true with your auto financer. Contact them, speak to them about what your specific options are. Now, I'm going to caution you on your mortgage, because if you are late, again, before you go into this program, it's going to show up on your credit, and it's going to keep showing up on your credit because you have defaulted on an agreement. So the key is not to be late. The key is to keep current. Contact the lender as soon as you are aware of some difficulties or you know you cannot pay, and get into an arrangement. That way, when they put the deferral or they put the forbearance status on your account, it's not showing a late payment, it's not showing any derogatory marks, and it will not negatively impact your credit. So what is the option for the mortgage? Do you go with D or do you go with F? Guess what? They're one and the same, so it doesn't really matter. The option is to call the lender right away. All right, so there you have it, D or F, which is better. The choice is ultimately going to be up to you, but I will say this: stay current whenever you can. Pay down your balances, even if you're in a deferral or a forbearance option. Make a little more than a minimum payment if you can. But the most important thing is communication with these lenders. Know your options, know your credit score, know your capabilities. You got this. All right. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay wise. I'll see you all soon. Remember, subscribe, like, and share. Bonus time. All right. Here's a fun fact for you. Did you know that if you're in a student loan forbearance program, 1% of the amount owed could be factored against you? That's right, it can be counted as part of your debt to income ratio. So that 1% could be the tipping point to you qualifying or not. It means that you need to pay down, and you need to be wise in your decision when either going into a deferral or forbearance program, considering all the options at hand and what goals you have in place. Know your options, know your credit, know your score, know what's right for you. All right, that's your bonus tip. I'll see you all soon.